Oh, yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our regular council meeting. It's Wednesday, October the 8th, 2025. I would like to remind everyone that on Friday, it's World Mental Health Day. We see so many people within our society today that are suffering. There is help available. We always encourage you to reach out. Secondly, we'd like to send a special wish to the Toronto Blue Jays. They need to beat the Yankees, so get going, boys. This meeting will be streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, the Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as Anishinaabe. Through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air, that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together, as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Council, I would ask you, when you have a pecuniary interest, to please declare it at the appropriate time. Council will go to item number 4.1 on your agenda. This evening, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Ross George and Mr. Mark Stedman from George and Stedman Properties regarding plans for the Wyoming United Church property on 2nd Street. Mr. George, Mr. Stedman, welcome. The lectern is yours. Go right ahead. We're glad to have you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for the warm welcoming. Members of council, I'm Ross George and my counterpart, Mark Stedman. If you're not already aware, we have been working with the Wyoming United Church for quite some time on putting together a deal that's going to be mutually beneficial for childcare purposes as well as the church in their building on 2nd Street. It's no secret that there's a shortage of childcare in our rural communities, particularly Petrolia and Wyoming area is kind of a hot spot. Mark and I have been successful before in a few other communities in Plympton County with similar projects. And we made a connection with Wyoming and inquired if they had any interest. Anyway, it's time to formally announce that this project is beginning. So first and foremost, the building on the outside won't be changing much at all. There will be an addition of a playground on the north side for the daycare, but the church will continue to operate as it always has. So their regular Sunday service will be there. Any other particular needs that may arise from the church's perspective, they will have access to their sanctuary and they will be able to continue with their regular worship and their regular work as they always have. What we're going to be doing is repurposing the balance of the building, which has been underutilized for a number of years now, into childcare spaces. There will be 3 childcare rooms in that building. As you can see from the drawings that are up on the PowerPoint, one room will be an infant room. Room number 3 will be a toddler room, and then or I have that backwards. Sorry. Room number 2 will be a toddler room, and the final room will be a preschool room. The age and demographics of those rooms vary a little bit. Along with us, we brought Penny Kearney, who's the director of Kitty's Corner Co-op. They will be the operator of the program in that building. And behind Penny is our very kind and helpful representatives from the County of Lambton, Kim Godden and Melissa Fitzpatrick. They're from the Child Services Group with County of Lambton. These are partners that we've worked with on our other projects in the past. And we've been working with them hand in hand on this one over the last 20 months, getting it to where we are today. The drawings that I have up on the PowerPoint They're drawings that the architect has completed. We have a little bit of engineering work still to finish, which we're hoping to have done next week and be applying for building permits, hopefully within 2 weeks' time. We did work with municipal staff here in Plympton-Wyoming on the site plan for the property with the addition of the playground outside. Even though the changes were minimal, it was still required that we did register a formal site plan, as there wasn't one for the property. The building was built in 1980. It's a marvelous building. It's been extremely well kept by the church and the parishioners over the years. I'm really looking forward to repurposing it for childcare.
Yes, I remember when that church was built. Yeah, our other one unfortunately burned. Council, any questions that you have from Mr. George or Mr. Stedman about the facility? Anything ongoing? I guess my first one is when are you targeting to be occupying it?
Yeah, certainly. We expect construction to run through the better part of 2026. With the occupancy to be in the third or the fourth quarter. On that note, we'll be working with building services to ensure that the building remains, forgive me, occupiable by the church during construction. Because our work is going to be located in the balance of the building, which is underutilized, the intention is that the church will be able to continue to use the building and it will remain occupied during construction, provided we can put the necessary controls and separations in place. So
I'll go to my left. Any questions from my left?
Yes, I would have maybe a couple. Security, being it's a child care facility, I'm not sure how many children you have in there, what your plans are. But what kind of security measures would you have there? Like, are you going to fence off you said you're going to fence off the north side of the building?
yeah, that's correct. So outside where the playground is, actually that's a good question. I'm not sure how many of the counselors, but a couple of weeks ago, there was a tragic accident in the GTA at a daycare. So it's still a very fluid situation. We haven't got too much direction from the ministry, but they have given direction to all day childcare operators to provide any means necessary for childcare rooms and outdoor play spaces. So in this particular instance, our intention is to incorporate armor stone with landscaping. And where we're not able to fit armor stone, we're going to utilize boulder posts to prevent any sort of tragedy like there was in the GTA a couple weeks ago.
That's kind of why I was asking the question, so appreciate your answer on that. Now, security goes, fire systems and stuff like that. And I'm assuming the building permits, all that, identifying a childcare will probably encompass all the rules and regs around what you have to have there.
Indeed, it will.
I'm sure you're already thinking about that.
So this building presently doesn't have any form of fire alarm system in it. As part of our project, there will be a full fire alarm system being installed in the building. There won't be any fire suppression as a building code isn't requiring any form of fire suppression, but there will be a full alarm system, which is something that it's never had. In addition to that, in all of our other facilities, we've also incorporated security cameras with 24-hour monitoring. So that's something that will also be here as well. And that system is a closed system that director of Kitty's Corner and supervision on site have access to. Outside of that, just your traditional deadbolt locks and protocols and the day-to-day systems that the daycare uses for drop-offs and pickups.
So thank you for that. That's all I have.
Mr. Van Clever, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, guys. This seems like the perfect marriage between a worship center that might be struggling somewhat and yet continue to operate, and then a need to be filled for families needing childcare. Who knows, maybe there could be growth happen in that little community that's formed there that might reach out into the greater community, which would be fantastic. So yeah, I support your work. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Maybe Mr. Mayor.
Yes, great presentation, really good ideas. It's nice that this is actually going to work, and it's really nice to be informed about something before it actually happens. And that you're going through all these hurdles and telling us about, it. Wow, congratulations. I hope it really works out for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got that one on your. You did anyway. Am I right, Councilor Rodriguez?
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Glad to see that this is happening. I was gonna have a question about the protections for the parking and the tragedies that happen. See you are accounting for that. My other question is what is the need? Like, is there a big waiting list in this area in particular?
Yeah, to our our working knowledge, there is. Annie Kearney and Kim could probably answer the particulars on that question. And I'd love to offer that to you. Because I certainly don't want to misspeak, but yes.
Excuse me.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Sorry,
You have anything as far as numbers and the need?
the wait list.
Yes.
The wait list, the one list that the county operates is how we fill our seats at all of our other sites. We also have just firsthand contact from parents looking for childcare, but the one list is our main list. And that includes, which is why we decided to lean towards this time. Our other schools don't have an infant room. This one has an infant room, which will make it a little more unique for Kitty's Corner. But infants, plentiful on the wait list. Toddlers, plentiful. Preschool is what we basically had over the years. Very easy to fill preschool. And of course, it's a very fluid list because as the infants get to toddlers, then there's a huge amount of toddlers. Right now, it leans more towards the infants and toddlers and who are going to be preschoolers in another year or so. So it's nice. It sort of fills it fills our spaces as they grow. Our rooms are.
Thank you for that. So, oh, sorry.
And I could add to what Penny is saying. We just looked at our current wait list today, and there's about 130 children waiting just in Plympton-Wyoming on the list.
Thank you. Wow, that's nice to see we're growing. We're busy. So on the Lambton County wait list, does that, when you're on that wait list for daycares, does that apply to anybody in Lambton County?
Sorry.
So some would have to go to Wyoming, some would have to go to Forest, or is that how that works?
You want, oh, sorry. So I'll give you, specifically, we have, so our site in Courtright, right in Petrolia. There is an area on each wait list that parents can select where they would like to go. So Petrolia would draw from their list. But now it happens that Kitty's Corner is drawing from each other's list. So we'll contact parents even though you've applied for a Courtright list or a Brigden, we'll try to accommodate as best we can for all three of our existing sites. Same with Wyoming. So the area, parents don't mind driving 20-30 minutes to have childcare. So even though it's site specific, we do share wait list with the others as well.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. I know my daughter, the minute she got pregnant, she put herself on a, because that's what you have to do. It's so long. And my last question was about subsidy. Is this under the $10 a day program?
It is still available for parents. They just go through the application process. We have a number at each one of our sites that have subsidized parents will pay anything from 0 per day. Some might pay $1.23, some might pay $4. So depends on what their application and their existing income is. But yes, we are subsidized schools.
Okay, thank you so much.
Councillor Vacy?
Yes, thank you. Perfect idea. I think it's fantastic. My question is, what will happen to wee ones uptown?
It's a separate entity.
Is it, okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know if that was removed.
Not, yeah, it will continue to exist, in addition to.
I was worried about losing a tenant, that's all.
Oh, personal.
Well, no, the town. Great, thank you. No, I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Councillor Bojan?
Thank you. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about losing any tenants, because as they said, there's a list and we lived through it. We're lucky that we got an infant room when my wife went back to work. So I think it's a great idea, and thank you very much. Yeah.
Staff, anything from you?
No.
Nothing. All right, well, I want to thank you for doing this and for taking it on. We welcome you to our community. I'd also like to thank the county staff for their support and the work that they've done to work together. That's what it's all about, is working together. So thank you again for that. And if you have any issues or concerns, our staff are here to certainly help you. Right.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, guys.
Much.
Thank you.
We'll give you, you don't have to stay if you don't want to. No, it's the most exciting part. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Mark, do you need these drawings back, or these ours to keep?
You can keep those.
Okay, thank you. Okay, council, I just would remind you, we do have a drainage meeting at 6 p.m. And I believe the deputy and myself are sitting out on this one.
Yes. If we need to deliberate, then you'll be asked to sit about it.
Maybe there's a reason. All right, council, let's go to item 5.1. Your agenda, I have a motion by Councillor Vacy, seconded by Councillor Bojan, that the correspondence suggests the following motion. That the staff report regarding hearing guidelines presented to the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority Board of Directors on September the 18th, 2025 be received, and the council directs staff to send a letter to St. Clair Region Conservation Authority Board of Directors expressing objection to the guidelines as they stifle the community's voice by not allowing their elected representatives to sit on the hearing committee. So I'll open that up as our representative from the that sits on the Conservation Authority. Councillor Rodriguez, do you have anything to add to this report? I know that we've received some correspondence today and yesterday on this matter. I think council's always had a chance to review them. So yeah, Councillor, anything for you to add to this?
No, not really. I mean, for me, and I think for quite a few, I believe as the lady who presented here, Debbie, stated, there were 16 out of 21 on the board that day for voting. 6 voted against, 10 for, so technically it's hard to know where it would have ended up at. But I think it was quite a heated debate at times from some of the council who just believed that it just didn't meet the test of the apprehension of bias. Just by simply having somebody in your jurisdiction. So that's kind of a whole you put in that apprehension of bias, meaning an appeal that comes from your jurisdiction, you're automatically out, which in my opinion creates a bias. By not allowing you to represent your community. I think when it comes to, for example, like the Hillsborough community, where they know there's still development that's occurring there. that we have to go through some processes. There might be certain things geographically or something you might know on the community jurisdiction. Like Mr. McCabe had mentioned at a previous meeting. You know, there's different people that have different sets of expertise on hearing boards, like farmers, things like that, that might know things, might be able to put more context to things. In those, when you're there strictly to listen to the merits of the case, and that's what you should be doing. And if you don't want to sit on the hearing, you don't have to. You certainly can decline at any time. You're not obligated, regardless of conflict or not. So it's just really disappointing to see it. I mean, we're elected officials. We have a duty and responsibility to represent our jurisdiction, and that's what we should be doing.
I apologize, I was not here for that presentation, but one question maybe you or staff can answer for me. This since it not, did this come down through the government for a judicial board under the Conservation Act? Did they bring that forth through that process, or was it just a decision made at the local level?
Correct. It was a decision made at the local level, and if you do watch that meeting, Mr. Phillips does speak to that. Somebody had asked the question, and he said no. Some conservation authorities do it, some don't. It's
Apologize.
strictly a local level decision.
I mean, it's been a little busy.
No, that's fine. I'm just letting you know you can refer. It is in the meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay, any questions? Councilor Wolvett?
Well, yeah, looking at this thing, I understand that each organization have their own set of rules. We have our own set of rules here, our own bylaws and stuff like that. But in this case here, we send a representative to the Conservation Authority to represent their community, to represent the people in their community, to represent their issues from the community. And I can understand that you can declare a conflict of interest if you had some kind of a financial interest in what the decision was going to be. But when you're there to represent the issue that's going on in your community and you're not allowed to sit in on it, doesn't make sense to me. That would be like telling our MPP and our MPP that you can't go down to Ottawa or Queen's Park and represent your community on your issue that's brought up in your community. Like I say, I appreciate the fact that they have their own rules and policies, but this one doesn't make any sense to me. And even in the voting thing with that many people missing, you would have think that they would have said, let's hold on to, let's get everybody in the room. It affects every community in the St. Clair Conservation Authority. So it doesn't make sense that you can't represent your own community. So I don't know what else to say about it. It just don't make sense. And the letter that was sent to the Conservation Authority, excellent letter, about the issues around it. So what can we do about it? I don't know, other than maybe go after the government, Mr. Bailey, and make it a bigger issue, especially in the news. Maybe that's the way to go about this thing. In other words, why do we pay a representative to go down and represent us if they can't represent us? No, I gotta say.
Thank you, Wolvett. Anybody else to my left?
It is yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. It does seem to be a premise built on distrust rather than trust when you're voted on to any board or a council. Your residents are building you trust, and you're representing us, and we trust you to do so. So in their effort to be fair, they've lack any common sense completely. And that's in a lot of areas in our society where in trying to be highly sensitive to fairness, common sense seems to fall by the wayside. So yeah, I don't know exactly what we can do on our council to show our disapproval of this policy. But with the letters and the other input here, if they can't trust, really what they're saying is they can't trust anyone at any time. That's an interesting way to look at the world. And so if you can't trust them in their own community, what makes you think you can trust them in somebody else's community? So I think there's a lot of problems there. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Anything from you? Okay. Councilor Bailey, for me?
Is that it all? That's another dumb idea.
Bolton?
Yeah, I still have a hard time believing it would even survive a judicial challenge in terms of procedural fairness. So yeah, I agree with this letter. The only comment building off of that is if we can send it to MPP Bob Bailey as well.
I believe Deputy Clerk Ms. Rumberger had asked to speak. Is she on line and holding?
She is online.
Did you bring her up? Let her in, please.
Debbie, if you have your audio on, speak now.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Ms. Rumberger. Thank you very much. Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I can't quite get the video to work, but I'm still pretty new at Zoom. I'm trying to reject it. Thank you so much for all your comments. And yes, one of the areas that was adamantly opposed to this assertion of bias was the city of Sarnia. And I imagine that we could look at ways to be able to coordinate with the other areas and with the media and let them know how arbitrary this rule is and how much it silences the communities that are affected by it. So I so appreciate you bringing this up. I so appreciate your comments. And if there's anything I can do to assist, I'm right here.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clerk, was there anybody else that asked to speak? Okay. All right. So anything else, Council, before I call for the vote? Councilor Lovett.
Just on her comment there about others being certainly against it, and I believe she mentioned Sarnia. And we talked about our MPP getting something off to him, but maybe we should be picking up all the other municipalities, making sure that they're well aware of what our resistance is to this thing, so that they all get the information, just Mr. Bailey. If the council.
Well, I think would they not, all the municipalities that are represented on the board should have gotten that information, would they not? Councilor Rodriguez, that went out to everybody, did not?
The highlights were just sent recently. I'm not sure if you received them. I don't know if they spoke to them or not. I hadn't had a chance to look at them, but I will say that that's less like putting something under recommended reading. Usually resolutions highlight something. So I think pointing it out in its own doesn't hurt by any sense of the word.
Anything else, Council? Want me to reread the motion, or is everybody comfortable with it? I sure can. Moved by Councilor Vasey, seconded by Councilor Bojan. The correspondence suggests the following motion. At the staff report regarding hearing guidelines presented to the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority Board of Directors on September 18th, 2025, be received, and that council directs staff to send a letter to St. Clair Region Conservation Authority Board of Directors expressing objection to the guidelines as they stifle the community's voice by not allowing their elected representatives to sit on the hearing committee. Clear? All those in favor?
Can you send it in caps?
Yeti.
Motion is carried. All right, council, let's go to item 5.2. I have a motion by Councilor Rodriguez, seconded by Councilor Bojan. Whereas conservation authorities serve a critical function in safeguarding Ontario's natural heritage, overseeing watershed management, mitigating flood risks, and advancing climate resilience. And whereas the province of Ontario recent mandate to freeze conservation authority fees has significantly hindered their capacity to deliver essential services. And whereas conservation authorities are now expected to process an increasing volume of permit application fees under a fee structure that remains frozen despite rising costs of living and wage pressures, further compounding operational and fiscal challenges. And whereas municipalities are increasingly compelled to absorb the resulting financial shortfalls, leading to unsustainable downloading of costs onto local taxpayers. And whereas the intent behind the provincial fee freeze was to reduce development-related expenses and accelerate housing supply. And whereas this policy has inadvertently shifted the financial burden from a user-pay cost recovery model to the municipal tax base, thereby straining local budgets and compromising the principle of fair and equitable funding. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Council of the Town of Plympton-Wyoming urges the Province of Ontario to reconsider the fee freeze mandate and to implement a funding framework that protects municipal taxpayers' cost recovered deficits while supporting a sustainable and balanced approach to conservation authority financing. Questions on the motion?
Maybe. Mayor?
Yes.
I guess my only hesitation is because of the last agenda item. So we're hoping that we can encourage the province to help the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority with their funding, but we're not necessarily in support of the St. Clair Region Conservation Authority and how they conduct business. We're okay to discuss this because we live here, right? I'm guessing, yeah. Anyways, that would be my only hesitation.
Okay.
I know they're being squeezed. I can understand that. They're being squeezed and therefore they squeeze us, but yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any other further discussion? What?
If I may, just want to confirm with Councilor Rodriguez where all you would like this consent.
Oh,
I don't think it was letter, but usually we do the usual.
The same.
NPP, St. Clair Conservation Authority, usually AMO municipalities. Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you. If I may.
Yes.
I do appreciate your comments, but the last one's very frustrating. I mean, they do important work and the problem here is that it's the municipal tax base that keeps taking the hit, and that I don't think was the intent of the government. Freeze mandate was to pass it along. Well, maybe it was, who knows, but but that's just, I mean, with everything else, it's just not sustainable. I think they really need to, I mean, one letter, but you can't change things if you just don't do anything.
Okay. Call for the vote. All those in favor? It's carried. Okay, before we go on, Mr. Sabansky, you had something you want to share at this time?
Yes, last meeting, council asked me to look into the design of the Confederation Broadway Street intersection. I'd like to confirm that the intersection was designed by a traffic engineer and did look at truck turning templates. However, we are going to continue to monitor the truck movements in the area, and if we determine that trucks continue to have a challenge turning left onto onto Confederation line from Broadway Street, we will reline it so that we move the left-hand turn lanes further back to better accommodate truck turning traffic. In regards to the partially removed parking lanes, It's my understanding that the county of Lambton will be removing the remaining parking lanes up to the intersection and possibly painting a taper as well to help provide motorists a visual guideline of where the lane shifts over back to the center of the road once it goes past the left-hand turn lanes.
Good. Thank you for doing that, Mr. Savansky. Any questions? Good. Okay. Thank you. All right, council, let's go to item 6.1, moved by Councillor Van Claver and seconded by Councillor Wolvet. That the minutes be adopted by council, and those confidential minutes of the closed sessions of council remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. It would be on September 24th. We have the regular council meeting minutes, a closed regular council meeting minutes, and the Bannister Drain consideration meeting minutes. On the 29th of September 2025, we have planning council meeting minutes and the planning public meeting minutes that are used. You've had a chance to review them, council. Any questions? All those in favor? It's carried. Item 6.2, we have nothing under committee meeting minutes. Councilors' reports. Deputy?
Yes, Mr. Belgian, have you got anything to report?
Just the events committee met on Monday. They're finalizing, well, they have finalized everything for the Halloween event on October 25th, and that's at the community center in Kamlaki.
Spectacular.
That's the one, and you will be there, I hear,
I'm
making.
gonna be there, yes, fortunately, our
Scary of the place up.
Mr. Vasey, have you got anything?
I'm just looking to see what I've done.
Well,
Since our last report, the Misfits did have their poker run on the weekend. Had well over 100 participants show up. Weather was perfect. We raised just under $4,000 for Christmas for everyone. One gentleman won the 50-50 and put it right back in and stuff, so it was very well received. And yeah, it was a good day.
Good. Proud of you, Misfits.
There you go.
Is that what you have?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you. Yes, we had fire and I'll leave that to our chair.
Okay. Chair of the fire?
Thank
Mr.
you
Wolvet?
very much. Well, we did have a very smooth and productive fire board meeting on Monday night. Discussed several things, and one which was on the agenda here tonight. We'll leave it to the council to discuss that. We talked about the grant that we're around 36,000, I believe. Chief, it was 57, but I think 36 was the final figure, which will be used for hoses and second sets of bunker gear, lithium batteries, and a couple of thermal imaging cameras. Other than that, Fire Prevention Week is next week, from October 9th, the end of the week. And one of the big topics is going to be lithium batteries, and just how dangerous they can be.
We read a lot more about them recently.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Van Claveren,
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I have nothing to report tonight.
that's
Yep.
great.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Easy.
Mr. Mayor? Probably don't have a lot to. report.
I don't have a lot to report, but I did have the opportunity to attend a couple's 70th wedding anniversary in Wyoming. It's quite a milestone achievement.
Yeah,
70
married 70 years.
70 years, Mr. and Mrs. Keith Hart. And Troy Discovery on the weekend held a reenactment, and our museum supplied a display from World War I that was set up. Big crowd, lots of very positive things came out of that. And I had the opportunity to attend the doctor recruitment meeting just the other morning. And we have a doctor that I just apologize, I forgot her name, but she will be opening up. She has 497 patients now, and she's in a pause, but I believe within a month or so, she'll be opening back up. Target is 1,200 patients per doctor. The flu clinics begin on the first 2 weeks of November, and there's a good possibility we'll be utilizing our wellness center, flu shots. And the wellness center is now going for 2 evenings a week, Monday and Thursday to 8 p.m. The nurse practitioners will be in there, so our residents can have some extra time if they need for their families. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, there was an incident today, unfortunately, at the grocery store where the mishap happened, and I want to make a shout out to one of our employees and firefighters, Keegan Webster, who was there on site with the people in a very professional manner, handled it, took care until the EMS arrived. And a shout out to Keegan. He did a class act, and the family was most appreciative of his compassion and his giving to that. So the only last thing I have is just to thank council for their support the last while for me and for our family. Thank you, each and every one of you, for attending the celebration of life for my wife on Sunday. That was very humbling, so I appreciate that. Deputy, what about you? What have you been up to?
I was at that military display at the Petroleum Discovery, and yeah, they had an excellent display in the schoolhouse. So just in case it rained or bad weather. But one of the biggest things I had there, I suppose, was the military burger. I had it a little after lunch and I didn't need any supper. It was just so big, you know. Excellent food there, and the display was good too. The horses were nice, although I didn't see much of the action. They had just sort of stood around, got pictures taken, I guess. But yeah, the cavalry was an important part in World War I. That's about all I have. And I'm going to attend Spooktacular, so any counselors are welcome to dress up and see if they can get a prize. That's all.
I can make a quick comment.
No.
To do with Nettie's comments, my grandfather
Yes.
fought for England during World War I. Most soldiers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was wounded in World War I, lost an eye. And I ended up with his bayonet. The German wounded him in the eye.
Really? Yeah.
And have since given that bayonet to actually his daughter because after he passed away. So, yeah, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting. I'm sorry, I thought you were going to talk about Spooktacular, but
I know I'm spectacular, but
And very humble too, I must say.
you better delete those remarks. That's all, Mr. Mayor. I think we've taken enough time.
All right, thank you. Item 7, no accounts this evening.
Correct, Bishop.
Okay, we have 15 minutes before our drainage meeting. Let's try to do item 8.1 for sure. Moved by Councillor Wolvette, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren, that the report by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrative Officer, dated October the 1st, 2025, regarding the inclusion of the town of Plympton-Wyoming in Middlesex County Connect Trail Transit be received. Council accept Middlesex County Connect's amended proposal to provide a transit connection to the Kamlaki area for $8,743.78 annually for 5 years. Councillor Bojan?
I'll just be stepping out for conflict.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any questions? Councillor Wolvette?
well, first of all, I mean, living out in that area, I think it's great to have a pickup in Kamlaki area. I don't know where it would be, where the population is down the new subdivisions or right in Kamlaki, but this particular proposal, you know, with the pickup we got now, if we could adjust it accordingly, I think would be much better for us than to try to go with two different outfits.
I think there's a possibility. Mr. Sabansky, would you like to?
So,
Brother.
and we've been ongoing discussions with the Huron Shore system, and although there's not an opportunity to add a stop in Kamlaki as of today, we are seeing notable growth in the Wyoming area as far as ridership, and it doesn't mean that they haven't written it off as a possibility to consider that as we grow And as our ridership grows, our portion of the gas tax will grow towards the system. And as that growth continues, it will enable us to have those discussions. So I agree, having two separate transit systems could cause confusion amongst residents. And does not interconnect the community itself. It would be two fully separate systems running side by side together. So not approving this and having staff continue to work with Lambton Shores and the Huron system is a valid option. This recommendation too is very contingent on the other Middlesex County municipalities partnering. We have a very small share of this proposal. City of Sarnia has a very large share. And if the city does not approve it, it would go to county council. However, I doubt county council would approve it as they are only starting the research into potential rural transit now. So if it's not approved today, there is options for us to continue to look at it. It may not necessarily occur this year or next, but we may be able to incorporate Kamlaki into the system in the future.
And further?
Was the fly in my hand?
We need a flag.
You send them over.
Bring that fly in with you.
If I,
Yes.
so I mean, the 5-year agreement with the Huron Shores one is kind of like something that happens for 5 years. You can't really do anything for the next 5 years. I remember having quite a lengthy presentation in our Trails Committee from the sponsor group to understand how it all works. So for 5 years, we would not be able to do anything. I'm lucky if we didn't go with this option. So for that reason, it kind of is nice to have something. But then there's the other question of, are these two separate systems kind of working on two different type of mapping routes? Where they're both needed long-term anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, that might be a viable reason to have them as well. It's disappointing that the county is now only starting, since this has been going on for 2 years. They've been well aware of the increased interest and how well and how successful these transit systems have been. So it might take them another 5 years to even come up with something as well. So, I mean, for all those reasons, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. I do know it takes a long time. I think Wyoming, I think we have an advantage compared to when it first started because it was such a new thing. It takes a long time to get the ridership established. So I think there was an advantage having it all there. That trip picked up really well in Wyoming. I don't think it necessarily would be a bad thing either for Kamlaki. There's an aging population and there needs to be alternative solutions for them. I know we have a lot of other support services and stuff to help the elderly, but they're not always available. Sometimes they're too costly. So this is an option as well to have. So I get it, having the two different places you have to go to depending on it's kind of not the latest setup, but maybe it's just a permanent thing. I don't know.
Okay. Councilor Vase, anything from you?
No.
Further discussion?
Your worship, since we are down to 6 voting councillors, it may result the vote as well.
Probably. Thank you, Mr. Swansky. Okay, everybody comfortable with the, do I need to read it again? Yes. Moved by Councilor Wilvet, seconded by Councilor Van Claveren. The report by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrative Officer, dated October 1st, 2025, regarding the inclusion of the town of Plympton-Wyoming in the Middlesex County Connect Transit System, be received and the council accepts Middlesex County Connect's amended proposal to provide a transit connection the Kamaki area for $8,743.78 annually, 5 years. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion is defeated.
So as I understand, bringing transit is a priority for the Kamlaki area. I will continue on shores to see where expansion is available. Yes, I understand that the proposal and the federal or the provincial funding is locked in for 5 years. So there won't be necessarily sweeping changes, but if there is changes that they can do within the current program, we'll encourage them to do so. I will update council on any of those discussions once they're had.
Okay, council, next item is 8.2. I think it's gonna take a little longer than what with 5 minutes. So what I'm gonna do is take us to item 9. And we'll come back to 8.2. Nothing has been added under bylaws, clerk. Okay, Claire, correspondence items, action required, nothing to add to that. Okay, let's go to 11.1. Recommended reading. The correspondence items 8. Should I have a motion on that one? You should. Okay, down here, sorry. Yep, it got moved. All right, council, motion by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren. At correspondence items, we could have Councillor Bojan back for this one, could we? Welcome back, Councillor Bojan. Made a mayoral decision. We're going to hold off 8.2 till after the drainage. So I have a motion. We're going to item number 11.1. I have a motion by Deputy Mayor McEwen, seconded by Councillor Van Claveren, that correspondence items A to G related to recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. That's items A to G. Beginning on my right. Councillor Bojan, anything from you?
Nothing for me to pull, no, thank you.
Hey, Councillor Vasey?
Yes, just A, the letter from Christmas for Everyone, which is near and dear to my heart. If we could, are we able to post that on our website for looking for volunteers and stuff?
Through the mayor, if I may.
Good.
So once we received this letter, I did ask staff to do so. They have not released their formal digital notice yet. So once they release their formal digital notice, we'll do so as well. Posting the copy PDF on the website does not transfer well, so we want to be able to use their digital notices and share their Facebook posts and social media posts when they're released.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have.
Councillor Rodriguez?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Deputy?
Nothing, thanks.
Councillor Van Claveren?
Thank you, sir.
Councillor Wolbett?
No, sir.
All right, call for the vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Okay, let's try to do. Any new business, Councillor Bojan?
I do, that's why you brought me back in.
Okay.
I just have one quick thing for staff. I'm sure they're already on top of it, but I know Premier Ford's announced in his fight against traffic speed cameras that there's gonna be traffic calming measure funding in the future. So if we just keep an eye on that, just in case there is anything that comes up that we can help slow cars down in our school zones.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Vasey?
I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
Rodriguez?
Thank you.
Deputy?
Nothing.
Thank you, sir.
Councillor Wolbett?
I just have one item, and I did discuss this with Aaron, our clerk, just before the meeting. I've been getting flashes on my computer that we need to switch to Windows 11 because Windows 10 is no longer going to be supported here, I think in October or November. And I just want to bring it up so everybody's aware to, I don't know if anybody's had theirs updated or not, but as Aaron said, you might find yourself all of a sudden, your computer won't work. So we have to go to the county, Aaron, and maybe you can speak on it if.
Yes.
Yeah, you can either stop by the county and ask IT to come down, and they can help you there. You can leave it with them, or you can call and log, they can log in remotely and do what they need to do. So there is options, but
So I don't
it
know.
does have to happen. It's real. It's not.
Has anybody updated to Windows 11?
So I did talk to IT over there, Eric.
Yeah.
And he just said, go ahead and update it. He didn't say I had to do it, they had to do it.
Oh, they didn't have to do anything for you guys.
Cause I saw the notice keeps coming up and I was like, okay, do you guys need to do anything? He said, no, just go ahead and do
Well, you can try it if you're brave.
it.
If something happens, then you know where to go.
Yeah, okay, or it may not let you do it.
Computer.
No, mine didn't have that, so I don't know.
Okay,
He didn't seem to be concerned at all.
why don't I give Eric a call and got his number and I'll ask him the question and
Yeah.
you can.
For someone to be without their computer if something did happen. So you can do it yourself and then go thereafter or go before, either way.
Contact him and then relay back what he said. If we can do it ourselves, give it a try.
Be mine tonight and let you know if it was an epic failure.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, email.
Okay.
okay. That's all I have.
The system crashes.
Yeah.
All right, I have nothing under new business. So at this time, we're going to adjourn council activities, and I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Van Claveren. We have, what, 4 minutes, Councillor, before we begin the drainage meeting. Okay.
We'll start this meeting, everyone. Welcome to this evening's drainage meeting. It is shortly after 6. And we are discussing the quarter revision Shea Ferguson drain. At this point, I'll ask if anyone has any pecuniary or conflict of interest. Now is the time to clear that. The explanation of this meeting, the purpose of the Court of Revision is to hear appeals from landowners regarding the schedule of assessment only, as set out in the engineer's report dated August 15th, 2025 for the Shea Ferguson drain. The Court of Revision has no authority to change the engineer's report in any way. The schedule of assessment may be altered, but the total must remain the same. One assessment is reduced and the other assessments must be increased to balance. Allow me to introduce the members of the court and the staff present. Councillors Bob Wolvett, Alex Bojan, Mike Vasey, and Kristen Rodriguez, our CAO Adam Sabansky, our drainage coordinator Ryan Tamming, our drainage clerk Jessica Wilson, and Mr. Mike Garretts is our engineer on the project, and I'll be turning it over to him now to explain the assessment.
To the chair and to the court. So the open channel portion of this drain is assessed with 50% of the cost as a benefit assessment to the landowner that it's flooding the drain, and the remainder assessed as an outlet assessment. Culvert 1, this cost of the standard 8-meter access top with riprap and protection was 50% to the benefiting landowner and the remainder upstream. This culvert has a 2-meter extension because it's just pushed off they own both farms, but we put it onto one farm, made it a bit wider. That way, if they want to get a culvert in the future, we haven't hindered their grant on a second culvert if they ever split the farm up. They're not intending to, but that's kind of the future, just for future's sake. Culvert 2 is an 8-meter with 50% of the benefiting landowner and the remainder upstream, and culvert 3 was an emergency replacement, and that was with 50% of the standard 8-meter top and 50% upstream, and I haven't had any appeals on the drain.
No appeals on the drain. Thank you. Thank you. And no questions. No one online today, Lisa?
No one is joined on Zoom.
And obviously, there's no landowners in attendance here. Any questions from council or members of the court? Ms. Green? I have a motion here that the court, I have a motion signed by Councillor Vasey and seconded by Councillor Bob Wolvett that the court accepts the schedule of assessment and schedule of maintenance for the Shea Ferguson drain as outlined in the engineer's report dated August 15th, 2025. All in favor? It's carried. Another motion signed by Councillor Bob Wolvett and seconded by Councillor Vasey that the Court of Revision meeting for the Shea Ferguson drain be adjourned. Favor? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes this evening's drainage meeting.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Council, we're going to now go back to item 8.2 on your agenda. I have a motion by Councillor Van Claveren, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen. And a report by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrative Officer, and Will Davidson, Fire Chief, Director of Fire and Emergency Services, dated October the 3rd, 2025, regarding the updated automatic aid agreement renewal. Plympton Shores be received, and that bylaw 109/2025 be taken as having been read 3 times, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Councillor Bolgen?
Your worship, I provide the clerk with a conflict.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
We will bring you back.
Yes, please.
My report.
Yes, Mr. Savansky, if you'd like to add your report.
So there is one option that I wanted to bring to council's further light. There has been much discussion at the committee on the matter early in the process. And one thing that was previously discussed and we should discuss further is the ability to amend the service area. If we choose to sign the agreement today, which maintains the existing level of service, it does not stop us from changing the service area at a later date, part of the next renewal. So that is an option that council could consider, is approving the agreement today, but then it's providing a second motion to have the fire services review their ability to cover certain areas and recommend if there are areas they could cover as quickly or nearly as quickly as forest, which then could be amended for next year's agreement or for 2027's agreement. So I wanted to make sure that council was aware of that option above what was noted in the report.
Okay. All right. Any discussion on this proposal? Councilor Vaizey.
I'll start. It's my opinion that taxpayers in Wyoming already pay a high price for fire protection. We meet or exceed our obligations as a community to provide fire, rescue, and education coverages. Any enhanced coverage of the desired by the local residents who happen to benefit by living near a neighboring department should be paid by, they should be paying all the costs of this service. I see this as no different than hiring security because police coverage is not adequate. This has come up over the years since I've been here on the department a couple of times. And we have other outlying areas that don't benefit from living just geographically, and they're paying somebody else's bill so they can have enhanced coverage. I would recommend we take that $22,000 a year to put it towards our future budgets. We all know that we're going to have to replace the Kamlaki Hall and put it into reserves that way, and we do our own coverage. They say the numbers are there. Yes, it happens that there's one around the corner, but at $127 a household, pretty cheap coverage for them to enhance if they so desire. That's all I have to say.
Anything else to my right? Councilor Rodriguez.
I don't necessarily disagree with Councillor Vaizey. It is tough because this is a essential service that people rely on, and whoever can get there first, I really don't care where they're from. But it's almost like having a third fire station that we're in our fleet that not all of us are benefiting from. I don't know. My other concern is, I guess, what other parts of this mapped area are slated for development or have approved development? And how many additional homes potentially could be in that area?
I believe that we are looking at some of the Hillcrest area.
Scrolling down to the map just before I speak,
Yeah.
through you, if I may. So yes, the only growth area identified in the map would be the Hillsborough and Townsend line area. At this time, the south side has the zoning in place to do up to, I believe, 23 or so units. I'd have to pull the documents to confirm that, but it's between 20 and 25 units there. There is a property on the south side of Townsend line between Hillsborough and Lake Shore that has 7 existing vacant lots on it. And there has been concepts submitted for anywhere between 25 to approximately 300 homes. So, depending on servicing availability would depend on the density of the development there, but that developer in theory could develop between 25 and 300 homes. So that is a considerable increase in that specific corner of the municipality that could affect the rate of this agreement and B, our ability to service all of those citizens.
Does that answer your question?
It does. It just for a long time does show that there's something's gotta in here. The pay 22,000 is one thing, but to add a significant amount of homes like that could tremendously increase the costs on the general tax base. How far in the future is that? I don't know. That might not be for 20 years. It might be even the 26 homes, if Southside decided to go ahead, like next couple of years, that still adds quite a bit to the cost to people or to the tax base, so. 300, I think we're building a new fire station.
Anything else, Councilor? Left, Deputy?
Yeah, wasn't there study, half decent study done once, how long it would take Lucky Fire Department to respond in that area compared to Shores Fire Department, and it didn't make a significant amount of difference?
So we didn't have the formal study that was held on computers, which we do not have access to, but it was referred to in the minutes that we provided with the staff report today. And I think the minutes said approximately 8.5 minutes of travel time. But that is from the hall to the location.
Right.
That doesn't necessarily include muster time for the firefighters to get to the station and leave. So
Okay.
they're very similar. Mr. Davidson firefighters have commented that they usually get there very shortly after Forest in that area. But it is very close.
So I know in case of an emergency, yes, 1 minute can make an awful difference, that's for sure. Those are just comments, I haven't, not made any decision.
Well, that's why we're open for discussion. Okay, that's all, Deputy?
Yes, sir.
Councilor Van Clavin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate what's been said so far. We do know that insurance is cheap when you need it. And the closer you live to Forest, the farther away you are from Lackey and Wyoming. But you mentioned more of a user pay model. Can you explain a bit what you're thinking there? A bit more about that? So, yeah.
Well, if I may,
Mm-hmm.
in the report, it says it's 100, they're billing $127 a household. Times 174 or something like that, so it comes out to 22,000. Well, if I'm that homeowner and I want the insurance, I pay insurance for everything else. So there's people, I look at it, there's people that live out the end of Churchill on both ends that are in the same boat and don't benefit at all because they're in the middle of nowhere. They're like the closest is Petrolia or Brigden. So it's just a weird, that we butt that close to Forest and they have a fire hall there. But again, we've provided it. We provide police coverage for them. We don't pay extra for police to go and travel the roads out there for them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want that added extra, then You should be paying for it, not the guy that lives, like I say, A in Wyoming or B out on end of London Line. It's gonna be pretty close to the same time for Wyoming to go to the end of, the corner of Mandamin than it would be to go straight up Douglas Line. And we've done it, like I say, the report, we did time trials, we had actual calls in all that area that we pulled out to justify all that. And yes, they're gonna be quicker. They are gonna be quicker. But again, that's just, our taxpayers shouldn't be paying for that. I don't think. Because I live out there and I have to pay extra on my car taxes because somebody's stealing cars out that way and that's a bad spot to live. We all pay that difference. I see this as exactly the same thing.
Well, on that point, probably on your speed dial, you've got an insurance salesperson that, if at me as a homeowner, as a resident, if I pay for extra coverage from forest, that could be potentially reflected in my insurance rates. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just speculating, but nonetheless, we've seen user pay systems work in other ways well in our municipality, and it makes sense to make it user pay. I don't know anybody that lives around there that wouldn't pay it gladly.
Shabansky?
So the one comment that was made about, the difference in insurance for that. So reviewing the documents, talking to a few of our staff members and previous counselors who were here during that initial review in 2013 and 14. One comment that was made by the public back then is when they informed that the town would be taking over that services because of the higher distance, those insurance companies declined to provide them fire coverage or. So there is definitely an insurance incentive to have the Forest Fire Department respond to that area that's closer for the residents.
So maybe one last question. If we choose not to support this and we make it a user pay, is there a minimum amount of homes that would have to participate in order for the forest group to even want to take it on?
They haven't spoken about a minimum. They did speak about being comfortable adjusting the service area. But there was no discussion about what the minimum service area would be.
Because they never responded to like they did respond to calls. I just had the number here, but it wasn't a significant amount of calls.
Three.
So, was it just 3 calls?
In 2024, but none in 25.
Right.
Okay, yeah. That system's making more and more sense.
I think,
That's all for me.
I think we have to look at the, just a comment, we're talking about the area up around the Townsend line, but there's other areas too that we have to look at. This is a big map. And I do know, like Councillor Wolvette and I were having this discussion. We've had ratepayers, especially the area just outside of Forest, on our doorstep. We had talked about dropping this before, very livid and very concerned, and especially when they can see the Forest Fire Hall from their residence, they have to wait for us to get there. They were very vocal. There's other, not just the one area. We have to take into consideration this whole map scenario. Councillor Rodriguez, and before, are you done, Councillor?
Well, maybe one other little tiny question. What about a hybrid system? Maybe there's a opportunity to share the costs. So the commitment level's there. We provide X number of dollars and then the user would still pay difference.
And that was suggested that if council wanted, they could support the existing level of service, but the increased fees, so the approximately $5,000 additional could then be billed out to those benefiting property owners.
Okay, thank you. I have Councillor Rodriguez, and I'm going back to you, Deputy.
Thank you. And I would agree with the mayor and Councillor Wolvette that I wouldn't want to see anything compromised and get there as quick as you can, no matter who you are. That's the whole point of fire services. So would never want to sacrifice that for anything, for sure. But I just want to touch base on the fact that $22,000 isn't the only fees. There's a lot of fees if a response happens. When we did the calculation, I think in 2024, the 3 calls, along with the 16,000, it worked out to, so the fees we paid for us worked out to almost $7,000 per fire call when you add everything together. So it can get quite significant. And again, that goes on to the general tax base as well. But the other most important thing to know is it's not a guaranteed response. If they're responding to something in their own jurisdiction, that takes priority. They're not gonna not respond to their own jurisdiction for us. So I think we should caution on that it's not a guaranteed service. Even if they get called out, they charge us $500, but if they turn around halfway, because they gotta call somewhere else, they're not coming. So I think that's important to keep in mind.
Deputy, then Councillor Vacy, then I'll come back to you, Councillor Levette. I haven't forgot you, Bob.
Can,
I know you haven't.
is it okay to get our fire chief's opinion?
We will be. I have
We
Chief
gotta
Davis.
wait- We gotta wait for yours. Okay. Can't get it now?
No,
Fine.
he needs to hear everything.
All right.
Councillor Vacy.
Yeah, I was just gonna speak on the extra fees that. So for $22,000, we get to use their name. They might respond if we need them, and when they do respond, they charge us extra. When we show up on, correct me if I'm wrong, we show up on scene, we take command, then it becomes a mutual aid and everything's free from that point on. That's part of the mutual aid agreement. So I don't understand all this extra billing. If we didn't show up at all, we had a fire somewhere else and they took there for 2 days on a barn fire by themselves and everything else, then we'd pay them everything and then some for doing it. When we're showing up, we're taking command. At that point, there should be no fees, correct? That would become a mutual aid at that point,
Fee.
and we send them home or we do whatever, but.
You may.
For sure. So you're correct, there is the retainer fee of the annual fee and then per call fee. And once, so they would get a page, Plympton Shores Station would get a page. We would get a page be stacked for our stations to respond. And then once we got there, which they should have already been there and taken control of the scene, started to fight the fire, we can, by this agreement, release Plympton Shores from the scene or choose to keep them under mutual aid, which would be free because it's free under the mutual aid agreement. But if we don't, theoretically, if we don't, or by the letter of the law here, if we don't declare that, then they could still bill us for that service.
Okay, thanks, Chief. Councillor Levette.
Well, where do I start? I want to be positive here. There's been an awful lot of effort going into trying to get some kind of agreement. It is coming due for sure. But I did a lot of thinking about this since the meeting on Monday night, but this is a whole lot more complicated than just either cut them off or agree to what they're recommending. So that's what I've been thinking about over the last couple of days. And I think on a go forward basis, and the mayor and I did talk a little bit about this, the go forward basis, I think that the committee needs to take a whole new look at this whole response from the Kamlaki fire station. And I know there was time trials done and all that kind of stuff, but some of it, as Adam has said, some of it, we don't have it recorded. We don't know details. So I think we're going to have to go back to the drawing boards, take a look at the whole thing because, and I talked to the chief a little bit about this. When that fire whistle goes off, guess who responds? Forest responds. Kamlaki responds. Wyoming responds because they're structure fires. So everybody responds. So now we've got 3 fire services, 3 stations, all heading out to the Kamlaki area. The other thing I'll say, and it's in the minutes, you can read them yourself on page 4 of the 2013 minutes, where the chief and deputy chief in Kamlaki did these studies and felt very comfortably that they not only could handle that whole area out there, but they could even handle some stuff that's just north of the 402 highway. It's in the minutes. I remember it well because I was on the committee. And at one time, if you look at your maps, and we're looking at, this is the updated map, which was expanded big time from the original Schedule A map. Can you bring up the Schedule A map? You'll see where they used to cover. So it was expanded big time to take out right to the end of Townsend Line, and a lot of them caught. Yeah, see where the area used to be now. Of course, that was responded to by Forest. Now there was an amalgamation and everything took place up at Shores. So now what they're looking at, from what I can understand from Adam, is that like they've amalgamated, and now what they're looking at is Plympton Shores is looking at now is all the areas that they supply fire protection to, Warwick, and I forget all the others. And they're trying to be consistent. So if they charge in Warwick $127 per household, they're going to want to charge us to be consistent. Is that expensive or not expensive? Probably not. It's probably not a lot of money for each household for a year. But the trouble is, there's double dipping there, because as Mr. Vasey has said, our people are already paying for fire protection. Now, if we go out there and tell them we want another $127, Alia, for more fire protection, like, it becomes quite complicated. And that's why I think this is a bigger deal than just the decision we may have to make tonight. Do I agree with it? It doesn't matter whether I agree or I don't agree. I think we just need to do it right, and everybody needs to have fire protection. But does 3 fire department stations have to go the same fire? Come on, I mean, this is costly. So I think we got to take another kick at the cat and look at this and look at it at the committee level with staff, obviously. And tonight, we're going to have an agreement in place. We can't leave those people out there out in the cold. They have to have fire protection. So we can cancel, we can make changes. We have 90 days. We can cancel, we can do anything we want. But I think for Plympton-Wyoming, we need to get straight what our fire protection is out in that Kamlaki area. And if we can't handle our own emergency response, we got a problem. So, before we make our decision, we got to think about that. We got to think about what the professionals are going to tell us, what the chief's going to tell us, what the station chiefs are going to tell us. I mean, I think that's where it's going to come from myself. If they say we can't handle it, well, then they can't handle it. They say we can, then we're going to have to go to the people, bring them on in here, and give them some options. If you want to pay this extra and have a double protection, well, then here's what the cost is going to be. So that's what I think should happen. We got to go back to the drawing boards, but in the meantime, we have to have some kind of an agreement here. Can't leave it up in the air.
Thank you, Counselor. Chief, before I ask you, there's a couple things we want to ask for you, but first of all, would there 3 stations be called out to a fire, say outside of Forest or up in that Townsend area? Those are kind of the opposite ends, but what would there be 3 stations called out for that?
Your worship, yes. So for a structure fire, confirmed structure fire, yes, we would have Forest station go first. And then both of our stations would respond at the same time.
Good. My second question to you, like, I know we have the results of that 2013 test run that they did. Have you and your DCs looked at doing something recently to give us an up-to-date timing wise for what the personnel you have, what you have in place now? That was, and nothing against the 2013 report, but things have changed a little bit time wise.
I can offer you a little bit on that. I have, of course, looked into it. just to see if those old numbers were valid still. I don't want to look at this as a two-dimensional thing. There's the other side, as our CAO referred to earlier, and I want council to consider that the response time is one thing, but the shoot time, and this is one of the main reasons for including it in my reports to council, is the shoot time is the time that, or assembly time, whatever terminology you want to use, this, they mean the same thing, but that's the time from when the pager goes off until that volunteer firefighter gets to the station and the truck leaves the station. So I looked at 1, 2, 3, 6 different areas in the agreement map, 6 different locations there. And I mean, this day and age, you can do computer mapping just as easy. And so I did that, and then I ran them as well, just in my pickup truck, which is, you know, neither here nor there. You may get some slight variations in a larger vehicle as well. But what I did learn was the computer mapping is pretty accurate. We all know that. We all put destinations in, and it's pretty accurate. So of all the ones I ran, and I did this, you know, up to Ann Street, at the top end of the coverage area in the north side there. Out of the Kamlaki station, it's going to be about 12 minutes. From the Forest station, about 9 minutes. So there's a bit of variation there. I ran one out to 7022 Hillsborough Road. It was 2 minutes quicker from Kamlaki than it was actually from the Forest station. The 4925 Aberarder line, I ran, and it was a minute quicker from Kamlaki than it was from Forest. Then Forest Road to what we would recognize as the Stone Picker area. You know, they're 3 minutes from Forest on computer mapping to get to that area. And in comparison to 12 minutes out of Kamlaki. So some big variations in some areas, but in others, that direct time from the station to the location, there's not, we're talking minutes. And I know every second counts, every minute counts, but there's that whole other side of this equation. We're not always thinking about the shoot time, and we don't know the shoot time for the other side of it. And I don't know that that information is even available. So I did run some actuals as well. And in every case, my actuals turned out to be about a minute quicker than what the computer came up with. As you all know, when you're in a hurry to get somewhere, you can shave a little time off of what Google tells you. So I ran some on Hubbard. We were 10 minutes out of Kamlaki, 7 minutes out of Forest. And then I did what we know as Crescent Hill Acres on Douglas Line, 10 minutes from Kamlaki station and 6 minutes from Forest station. So our average shoot time for the first half of 2025 out of the Kamlaki station for all calls is about 5.93 minutes. So all those times that I'm giving you there, we're now adding on about 6 minutes, but we don't have anything to compare that to. So, and I want to say this, Your Worship, if I may go on a little further, a little slightly off of what you asked. We've had a great relationship with Lambton Shores, with the fire service. I don't want to lose that. The chief and I there have met, and we said we would bring the facts forward, and facts is what we plan to bring forward to council. And ultimately it's council that sets the level of service. And you know this, you know how this topic has caused in the past. No one wants to lose service, and to say, can we cover it is a bit of a loaded question. Of course, anybody can cover anything. It's just a matter of what value, what how good a service you want to provide. NFPA 1720 is the standard that we follow as volunteer fire departments. So we look for a time of 14 minutes to have six firefighters on scene within 14 minutes or of our initial page. So we're well within that, and that's like an 80 percentile that we're looking for there. So we would be well within that in most areas here, but I mean, there's a lot of history here and people have had this coverage for a long time. It means a big difference. Not, it would be totally different if we said, yes, we can cover it if there wasn't forest sitting right there. But when there's another option, it adds a whole new dynamic to this. So I just want to be respectful of that. I do have a long history of this. I was here back in these old minutes that you see in the staff report. I was here through those talks. I was in Middlesex when we negotiated this 2016-ish, and we actually got rid of the agreement at that time in Middlesex. And then later on, they had a large fire, and now I understand they're back with the contract, with the agreement there. So it's a big decision. I will also add that there was a bit of talk there about that user fee and how many houses had to participate. And I just want to make sure we understand, at least as I understand it, everyone in that area would have to participate. We couldn't have some in and some out. That's kind of how the fire service started. Some people had coverage and some didn't, right? So everyone in that service, I think we would be saying yes to the agreement and then adding a levy on ourselves outside of that agreement. That answers some of your questions.
Yes, it did. Thank you, Chief. Councillor Basie?
Just, we're 2013 report. I did a report in 16 or 17 that updated all those times, and they were done with actual calls out to those areas. It's all on FirePro. And I might have that report on a stick at home, but that was when this whole discussion started. We were dropping it, and then we tried to charge Enniskillen there was $50,000 back when this started. So that got everybody's knickers in a twist. So we tried to go after Enniskillen for doing half a Churchill, and they just told us go pound salt and took it back themselves, and we got nothing out of it. And then that's where this new agreement eventually come out of, went per household instead of per acre. It was a weird formula they were using. But those time trials, or weren't time trials, they're actual calls. And they've got the shoot time in them, they've got everything, because they're actual calls. And it shows you're right on. Like, I think back then it was 6 minutes for Kamlaki and 4 out of Wyoming. And we could hit all those areas. And the discussion back then with me was, when we look at the Kamlaki Hall and replacing it, if you slide it north a bit, it puts you closer to all those houses. And then your response time should be a little quicker, your shoot time, because we don't know where people live. But there is another report out there, I'm gonna say 16, 17, probably when this thing was drafted. The year before that, because as I say FirePro, I just went and put the addresses in the area, and the calls come up and it tells you everything you want to know.
Is that a committee report or an internal report?
It would have been a fire management. It was for this whole discussion, but
I know the clerk scoured all the formal correspondence for everything, so it might have been something that was presented informally because it didn't make its way to those records. But if you have a memory stick, that would be very helpful to like
I say I've got some stuff on it that it might be there, but if not, you could reconstruct it out of FirePro anyway, because up until you can use it. That's all I'm saying. There is newer data than 13.
Right. Thank you. Councillor Rodriguez?
Thank you. I just have one question. Since these are all volunteer fire departments, so I imagine shoot times can be much different, but do all our firefighters live in Plympton-Wyoming?
No, they don't. That's been a topic of late. We did have some that were hired from outside of the municipality. And that's not of any fault of anyone. Don't get me wrong. That's a need to hire firefighters and find people who are available and people who are trained. So that was the decision made at the time. But it does lend itself to hurting us on that other side of the equation. And then there's more to that, you know, as you said, they're all volunteer firefighters, so are they available? They're going to be at home. If they're, it doesn't really matter where they live, but if they're not there during those times, and it's of no benefit to us if they're always gone, if they're always busy. So there's a lot more to this, and I'm assuming that other volunteer services would have similar shoot times, but I don't think that that's something we can safely assume.
No, I agree, but if volunteer firefighters don't even live here, it may take longer to actually get to the fire department, get to a fire. It's that's kind of scary, to be honest. But does that happen in other municipalities as well, where they have to bring in volunteers from outside the area?
Your worship, so it is common, you know, we look at the dynamic difference between our Kamalaki station and our Wyoming station, where we typically have more firefighters that live around the station in the Wyoming area than in the Kamalaki area. And that means we have to have longer travel times to get there. So you might consider that Forest probably draws a lot from around that area, but we don't really know that.
I was just wondering if it was common in other municipalities.
Yeah, I think.
To bring from outside. Okay.
Anything further? Councilor Wyatt?
We're only what, $5,900 added to the what we have now, which percentage wise, it looks really bad, but it's not a lot of money. Since the previous councils have agreed to this agreement that we have in place anyways right now. So basically, that's what we're getting at here. We're down to $5,900 increase. And to be fair to Lambton Shores, like as I said before, they're looking at everybody that they supply fire service to. So I'm just thinking out loud that tonight's purpose, you know, I think we probably should agree to this thing, but also agree to take another look at this whole thing over the next year and seeing if we can, and dealing with the people out there, like, let's find out what they want, because there was a heck of an uproar when we tried to change. I mean, a heck of an.
We had the council was full. We had them on our doorstep.
Yeah. We need to do it right. We can handle the area. So be it. But we're gonna have to communicate it, and we're gonna have to do it right. Once again, before we close it off, I think we have to have something in place here while we're doing another study or whatever we're gonna do. Just that kind of closing statement. But anyways, that's.
Okay, anything else? Sabansky?
And I really appreciate council's comments tonight and fire executive committee as well. As you can see through the minutes that we provided and the YouTube links, the committee had really been working at this early in the year and been hoping to bring this directly to council to really get this conversation going early in the year. Unfortunately, Plympton Shores took a very long time to get us this letter confirming their standpoint, confirming their calculations. And because it was handed to us so late in the year, it doesn't really give us a lot of time to contemplate what to do with the changes. And I think Chairperson Wolvet is right in the sense that we want to definitely maintain the levels of service. But I think staff is hearing loud and clear that the council and the committee want to further research options for fire recovery, possibilities of and the possibilities of user fees. So I think even if the motion is passed as is today, staff are hearing the direction loud and clear. The fire department will, of course, do some further research to determine what they are comfortable covering, if that is council and committee's decision. And then finance will obviously review what a user fee system looks like, what it's called. Obviously, it need to be executed under bylaw. And then that information can be brought back to council and committee throughout next year to make an informed decision on how to move forward.
I have one more quick question.
Yes, Counselor.
Councillor Wolvette pointed out the original map from 2013 and it's grown substantially since that time. How did that happen from what we originally agreed to?
So I do believe
Is that just because of population growth around the area?
I'm not entirely certain. That staff report was the two CAOs ago. So they were talking about the coverage area of that time. So I don't know why at that time they expanded it. Chief Davidson was in our fire service at the time, so might have a bit more insight, or Chairperson Wolvette. But I don't know why they chose to expand that area at that time.
I think because it was a forest fire station, not Lambton Shores, so they didn't have all the fire station, amalgamated them. So that was the area that was agreed to out of the forest fire station. And once it got into Lambton Shores, a bigger picture, then it was expanded out to Lakeshore Road in 2015. That was my understanding. Even in the write up here, it talks about forest fire station, not Lambton Shores. Well, I think they were happy at that time. But there was some of that, they could fight a fire on one side of the road, but they couldn't fight the fire on the other side of the road. So some of the discussion came up there at that time, said, hold on, you're leaving some people out of this picture. So that's what got expanded. I wasn't the chair at the time, but I think it was either Mr. Decker or Mr. Shank at the time.
Nothing further? Want me to reread the motion? Is everybody comfortable with it? Reread it? Okay, moved by Councillor Van Claveren, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen. Report by Adam Sabansky, Chief Administrative Officer, and Will Davidson, Fire Chief, Director of Fire and Emergency Services, dated October the 3rd, 2025, regarding the updated automatic aid agreement renewal with Lambton Shores be received, and that bylaw 109 of 2025 be taken as having been read 3 times, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign said bylaw accordingly. All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Bring Councillor Bolger back. When did you send out?
Keep paying.
Back to Councillor Bolger.
Did you have a good sleep?
You didn't go home for supper, did you?
I always want, I should have.
All right, I have a motion by Councillor Van Claveren, seconded by Deputy Mayor McEwen. That council move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to Section 239, Municipal Act 2001, as amended for the following reasons. Item A, litigation matters. Section 239, bracket 2, bracket E, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals at the municipality or local board. And item B, personal matters. Section 239, bracket 2, bracket B, personal matters about identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. All those in favor? That is carried. For those that are joining with us virtually, we thank you very much for being with us this evening. We are going in camera and we will conclude this meeting and wrap up after.